Hello, English 9 students. Follow along with me as we read Section 2 of the Scarlet Ibis. When Doodle was 5 years old, I was embarrassed at having a brother of that age who couldn't walk, so I set out to teach him. We were down in Old Woman's Swamp, and it was spring, and the sick sweet smell of bay flowers hung everywhere like a mournful song. I'm going to teach you to walk, Doodle, I said. He was sitting comfortably on the soft grass, leaning back against the pine. Why? He asked. I hadn't expected such an answer. So I won't have to haul you around all the time. I can't walk, brother, he said. Who says? I demanded. Mama, the doctor, everybody. Oh, you can walk, I said, and I took him by the arms and stood him up. He collapsed onto the grass like a half empty flour sack. It was as if he had no bones in his little legs. Don't hurt me, brother, he warned. Shut up. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to teach you to walk. I heaved him up again, and again he collapsed. This time he did not lift his face up out of the rubber grass. I just can't do it. Let's make honeysuckle wreaths. Oh, yes, you can, Doodle, I said. All you've got to do is try. Now come on. And I hauled him up once more. It seemed so hopeless from the beginning that it's a miracle I didn't give up. But all of us must have something or someone to be proud of, and Doodle had become mine. I did not know then that pride is a wonderful, terrible thing, a seed that bears two vines, life and death. Every day that summer we went to the pine beside the stream of Old Woman Swamp, and I put him on his feet at least 100 times each afternoon. Occasionally, I too became discouraged because it didn't seem as if he was trying. And I would say, Doodle, don't you want to learn to walk? He'd nod his head, and I'd say, well, if you don't keep trying, you'll never learn. Then I'd paint for him a picture of us as old men, white haired, him with a long white beard, and me still pulling him around in the go kart. This never failed to make him try again. Finally, one day, after many weeks of practicing, he stood alone for a few seconds. When he fell, I grabbed him in my arms and hugged him, our laughter pealing through the swamp like a ringing bell. Now he knew it could be done. Hope no longer hid in the dark palmetto thicket, but perched like a cardinal in the lacy toothbrush tree, brilliantly visible. Yes, yes, I cried. And he cried it too. And the grass beneath us was sweet, and the smell of the swamp was sweet. With success so imminent, we decided not to tell anyone until he could actually walk. Each day, barring rain, we sneaked into Old Woman Swamp, and by cotton picking time, Doodle was ready to show what he could do. He still wasn't able to walk far, but we could wait no longer. Keeping a nice secret is very hard to do, like holding your breath. We chose to reveal all on October 8th, Doodle's 6th birthday, and for weeks ahead we mooned around the house, promising everybody a most spectacular surprise. Aunt Nicey said that after so much talk, if we produced anything less tremendous than the resurrection, she was going to be disappointed. Paragraph 34. At breakfast on our chosen day, when Mama, Daddy, and Aunt Nicey were in the dining room, I brought Doodle to the door in the go kart just as usual and had them turn their backs, making them cross their hearts and hope to die if they peeked. I helped Doodle up, and when he was standing alone, I let them look. There wasn't a sound as Doodle walked slowly across the room and sat down at his place at the table. Then Mamma began to cry and ran over to him, hugging him and kissing him. Daddy hugged him too, so I went to Aunt Nicey, who was thanks praying in the doorway, and began to waltz her around. We danced together quite well until she came down on my big toe with her brogans, hurting me so badly I thought I was crippled for life. Doodle told them it was I who taught him to walk, so everyone wanted to hug me and I began to cry. Why are you crying for? Asked Daddy, but I couldn't answer. They did not know that I did it for myself, that pride, whose slave I was, spoke to me louder than all their voices, and that Doodle walked only because I was ashamed of having a crippled brother. Within a few months, Doodle had learned to walk well, and his go kart was put up in the barn loft. It's still there, beside his little mahogany coffin. Now, when we roamed off together, resting often, we never turned back until our destination had been reached. And to help pass the time, we took up lying. From the beginning, Doodle was a terrible liar, and it got me in the habit. Had anyone stopped to listen to us, we would have been sent off to Dick's Hill. My lies were scary, involved, and usually pointless, but Doodle's were twice as crazy. People in his stories all had wings and flew wherever he wanted them to go. His favorite lie was about a boy named Peter who had a pet peacock with a 10-foot tail. Peter wore a golden robe that glittered so brightly that when he walked through the sunflowers, they turned away from the sun to face him. When Peter was ready to go to sleep, the peacock spread his magnificent tail, enfolding the boy gently like a closing go to sleep flower, burying him in the glorious iridescent rustling vortex. Yes, I must admit it. Doodle could beat me by line. Doodle and I spent lots of time thinking about our future. We decided that when we were grown, we'd live in Old Woman Swamp and pick dog tongue for a living. Third page. Beside the stream, he planned we'd buy us a house of whispering leaves, and the swamp birds would be our chickens. All day long, when we weren't gathering dog's tongue, which is a wild vanilla, we'd swing through the cypresses on the rope vines, and if it rained, we'd huddle beneath an umbrella tree and play stick frog. Mama and Daddy could come and live with us if they wanted to. He even came up with the idea that he could marry Mama and I could marry Daddy. Of course, I was old enough that this wouldn't no. I was old enough to know that this wouldn't work out. But the picture he painted was so beautiful and serene that all I could do was whisper, yes, yes. That concludes the end of section 2 of The Scarlet Ibis. I hope you enjoyed the story.